Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second day of Indieway. In the first session today, we will have Deniz Şimşek from IGG, and then she's going to talk about women's presence and success in gaming sector. And then we will have our director, Ms. Cevher, who's going to moderate the session. I'd like to invite them to the podium now. Hello. All right, Ms. Deniz, let's get started with a brief introduction about yourself. I graduated from the Visual Communication and Design from Başkent University. I never considered getting into the gaming sector. You know, I was basically kind of discovered by a German company as a gamer, and after I entered the gaming world, I realized a lot of things. So, for example, it would not be enough to study visual design. You need to go deeper. And then I entered Istanbul University, and I'm a student at a sociology department. Not finished yet, but I hope it will. About the IGG, you know, I've been dealing with Turkish community, so I'm gonna call it IGG. So I started working as a team leader, and then I've been moving on as a senior supervisor for a team of 11 people. What do we do in general? We manage social media and provide customer services. And in relation to that, we also get involved in influencer marketing. I'm connected to all of them. I'm not saying that I do all of them, but we have a beautiful team, and we work all of them together. So just like Mr. Savash said, I'd like to talk about the number of women, and I'd like to start from a more general perspective and go more specific. Why should we increase the number of women? Rather than that, I'd like to focus on we are there and we should be there. You know, I have two screens, and I see you just on this side. So let's talk about what you have been doing in the gaming sector. Yes, there's a lot of women in this sector, and they are doing different things. You know, like women should be in this sector is a bit too cliche. You know, what are the women doing in this sector? What are you doing? Let's get started with that. Let me start with a more general perspective. You know, until now, what I did in gaming companies. As women, we are employed in specific conditions. We didn't used to be preferred in the software companies, but now women are excessively successful in software now, and they have been doing software in the gaming sector as well, and there are very successful examples. I started as customer services, and then moved on with Q&A and game testing, and I dealt with the payment issues. I even worked with the police with that. I have an experience of 4 years. This actually is a rare thing because, you know, normally we solve issues with lawyers. Doing the Q&A, we start with the first version of the software until the final version. We did the QAs of every version in between. Other than that, about localization, I can check things. By the way, this is not my expertise. There are different teams for that. But as team leader, I worked, they give you different names when you are a team leader, but and then the authorities also do change. I also do work with the translation team. I do translations myself as well. Not as much as professional translators, but I can do some of that. Other than that, I'm trying to do influencer marketing for that company of mine. You know, as we directly report to country manager, we have to look into certain things. That is one of the reasons that we work as supervisor and deal with those issues. We have to address every field of the gaming market. Other than QA and localization, we sometimes exchange opinions on the new characters to be created. Let's say a face has been drawn, for example. We have sometimes suggestions on specificities of the character, like eyebrows, nose, eyes, and things like that. That is pretty much what I do in general. And we get involved with these throughout the day, every day. Women are more organized, obsessive at points, right? Sometimes, yeah, you need to pull the others together at the office, right? Unfortunately, I am a bit like, I call myself a psychopath, let me say. I suggest my team members don't work on holidays, but I do because I don't feel good when I don't. So by our structure, we want to follow certain rules. If there's an assignment, it has to be completed. We have to follow it. Yeah. If I were involved in the design, maybe I would be a more relaxed person. Maybe the people of design would be angry with me that I said that now, but yeah, they are in general more relaxed. Jumping from point to point, but let me just say something else. Besides everything positive, there's something negative. In the employment, well, I'm not really doing sexism. I'm not practicing it, but I may prefer, you know, um, women. So I, yeah, sometimes we hear stories, they don't prefer women that are recently married or are gonna have babies. But the same thing goes for the men that they would go to the military service. If the man, a candidate, did not do military service, then he's gonna have to leave sometime soon. So rather than the gender discrimination, they focus on the sustainability of the work, basically. And I think we should not be sexist in our attitude on that discussion. Yeah, there is no sexism in our generation anyway. I mean, in any job interview with anyone, I mean, I didn't ask whether they did the military service or not. They speak that themselves, uh, you know, but I didn't ask a woman, whether she's married or not, whether she would work late or not. If I'm applying for a job, I would do whatever is required. The gaming sector is different. The applicants are different as well. So we have a bit more confidence and we are more relaxed. So yeah, both that goes for both men and women, by the way. Uh, It could be a person that just turned 18 or above 40. The people who apply for a position in our sector, they know what they want, and that has a positive effect on the sector. So what do women do in the gaming sector? Do they make a difference with what they do? You know, it, do the gamers feel that there has been a woman touch? Of course, I can specify certain names that involve women developers. Halo is one of them, for example. Assassin's Creed is another one. I love it very much, by the way. I'm going to play it once again. Uh, Far, I didn't play that. My brother does play that. I am a fan of FIFA, and in those games, I mean, among their developers, we have a lot of women, and that is a very positive thing. We have a lot of women in their designers and software engineers. So based on gender, women are more proportional, let me say. It's important to have women in the design phase because women have a different perspective. It is important that that we have women in both the design and the software part of the games. There was Kim Swift. There was somebody else, Carol Shore. They're all developers and they are kind of guiding stars in this trend. I recommend the new generation to follow these individuals because the new generation is coming strong, especially in the software and coding. Coding is pretty much like a foreign language, right? Once you learn that language, you would just read and write in that language, right? If anyone who doesn't know coding, if he or she works with a coding team, let's say QA, um, he or she would understand what certain codes mean, Have you ever played Monopoly? Of course, of course. It's one of my favorites still. We do play it at the office at times. The creator of Monopoly is also a woman. Elizabeth was the creator, but he got it stolen, taken away from her hands. She prepared it very well. I think it came out at the beginning of 1900s. I'm not certain about the date, but she develops it as two different monopolies and she patents the game. And later, somebody else called Charles Teo makes small modifications and obtains a new patent just by paying $500 to the first creator woman. So somebody created the game and somebody else benefited from it, basically. Especially in these small companies, we have a lot of women entrepreneurs. It's not just about establishing the company. They also involve in the creation process. They learn coding. Most of them have prior design training anyway. They could be graduated from English literature, but some of them come to that field just because they are interested in, they don't have prior training. Yeah, there is a flow from different sectors to gaming sector, right? Yes, and with the effect of pandemic, being locked up at homes, and the economy not doing that well in Turkey, this sector is becoming more and more popular. People from architecture or fine arts or other departments are flowing in. We didn't have that many women in engineering departments anyway, but now we are having them in engineering departments, and they're coming to the gaming sector as well. So that is what I feel. We had a speaker, Miss Arzu at Indieway recently. She presented a good speech, and with Unreal Engine, she adapted her architectural design to the game. And I think you're meeting a lot of people like that, right, in your profession? Yes, we do. The people who would come into the gaming sector, well, they don't have to have a prior design or coding training. They have to follow their dreams. They should chase their dreams in a brave manner. It's not just about gaming sector, it's the case in every sector. They're going to have difficulties, challenges at the beginning, but they're going to get over them. I watched her, you mentioned Miss Arzu. I watched her son, and I like doing things like that. They should be more to the forefront. We're not just responsible for ourselves. We have to consider the coming generations. We are in the digital age, and well, at least for now, this digital age is here to stay. You can choose a teaching department, engineering, banking, but to survive in the digital age is not really that easy. So sometimes people say, I have my phone in my hand. I'm doing something all the time with my hand. And sometimes they criticize me, that I am stuck on my phone. And I tell them, yeah, I'm working at a mobile gaming company. So of course, I'm not playing games throughout the day, but you have to sometimes fight with such criticism as well. It's not just in design or coding, but we have a lot of women in esports. In Beşiktaş, for example, Fortnite has another one. CSGO has games as well. It's a big world, esports. There's Istanbul Live. There's Vivecast. What do you think about that? What's the better way to go? Differentiating as women's team, in esports. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't require a lot of muscle power. We're not wrestling, so a woman could be in the same teams with the men. So it's about the power of reflex. How do you do you think is it correct to have separate women's teams? Well, it's not correct. I agree with you, but this is a very recent sector, and in every sports we have, men and women. It's going to take time for us to get together. So in 1980s, let's say somebody graduated from mining engineering. Let's say a woman graduated from a department like that. It was something very different for a woman to go into mines, right? But game is about strategy and thinking, right? Let's say in chess, we don't differentiate men from women. The same goes for esports because it's about being fast and establishing a good strategy. I believe we are more practical and ready-minded on certain issues. Like there's a saying that that 40 foxes go round on woman's mind in Turkish, and that could be a good thing for the gaming sector. That was this first woman esports player. I think she went into a men's team. I don't remember the details, but yeah, the trend is towards having mixed gender teams. We should consider it like that. For example, let's say we're establishing a team in League of Legends. You can have mixed teams. Why not the same thing goes for esports? You're gonna, fight side by side. You're gonna have your friends. It increases interaction as well. It would also increase competition. People may not agree with that, but women being in the same place with men, it would promote competition. Yeah, the same goes for production of the games as well, right? Yeah, especially in war games, for example. Yeah, sometimes if when a woman defeats a man, it damages the pride of the male player, right? So in one of the games that I play, I'm extremely powerful, and they consider me all the time a male. Yeah, the names are kind of, neutral names as well. Cevher and Deniz. And, I find myself defending my position. Why not a woman should play a war game? And there are a lot of women that are pretending to be a man in the game.
We create these reactions ourselves, actually. Once we exist in the fighting games or war games battles, really, in real terms. And I really like to be there, and I really like winning, to confess. What do you think while developing a game, for example? There is the business part of this work, localization, monetization, artworks, encoding, development, in general terms, the management of the game with the art, with the development in a synchronous way. I mean, being a game producer as a whole. What do you think all about this? About this, as a game producer, I can say that there is not a woman around me that I know, but in general terms, there are women who work with the game producers, because the game producers work under heavier conditions, as we are high in number as a project manager, but our number is not that much as a game producer, because the obligations are quite high of a game producer. At the operation part, we all do many things, but we are not responsible for the product itself. In fact, there are multitaskings. Actually, our mindset is quite compliant with that multitasking, and being able to do it is very nice. When I consider my previous companies, I'm thinking all about the game producers. There was not a woman who was a game producer. Of course, there are women in this sector whose ratio is around 25 or 30%, but we're mostly engaged in project management and product management. And we also want a difference. Women are low in number in this sector. Unfortunately, I know that the numbers declared by the Turkstat is also showing the same. According to the Turkish statistics, the general employment of women is around 56%, but this is not realistic in my opinion, even if this is declared by a government agency, I cannot take that percentage, take that figure and use it as a reference because this is not realistic. While inviting women as a speaker to Indieway, there are challenges because their departments are mostly marketing and they are not producers or game developers because I want to talk about the technical part of the games. So there are few women and they are really busy. Therefore, sometimes I really find it difficult to invite them as a speaker to Indieway. What I do on my behalf, I can talk about it. For example, I went to a high school as a speaker in Istanbul, and there were students who selected robotic encoding lesson, and there were girls and boys, and there were many questions about the software I used, and the feedback I received was really good. And it was 4 years ago, and those students directed themselves towards the gaming sector. But previously, before my speech, the girls were going to select some advertisement and marketing departments. And also at Koç University with a friend of mine, we went there as a speaker, and there were girls who desired to be in the gaming industry, but they didn't know how to start or where to start. So we somehow shed the light for them. And again, in Gaziantep, there was a school. We went as a speaker, and the number of the girls was really high in the school. They were really interested. They were really good at developing software. Imposing something at early ages will be correct. And what you were saying was right, Jevher, and we are really busy, and we have difficulty in sparing time for social tasks, but we try to do it as much as we can. In addition to our business life, our daily tasks also go on the other side. But we just need some courage. And instead of one-to-one speeches, you can invite women as a team in 3 or 4 person groups, like a panel. Such panels can be organized. Yes, Women in Games is also a partner of Indieway, and they also attend to the events, and we sometimes organize such panels, and these are really good. Both software, art directors, and marketing branches are all involved in those panels. And in such activities, actually, we try to form a bridge between the attendees and the experts. And in such events, actually, they get the vision of those people. They learn to look at the sector from their perspective. Therefore, actually, this is really influential. And how did they choose this sector? How did they achieve? And whether they are satisfied with their job or not. All these are discussed in those panels. We are all gamers. We like playing games, and therefore we are happy to be here. And there are many other women who share the same emotions with us. And they may start with learning and coding or developing the games, and we need to just encourage them. Indeed, as I have already said at the beginning of my speech, they need to pursue their dreams. The department they studied is not important. There will be challenges, of course. Every job has some challenges brought from its nature, or there may be some negative thoughts around. But giving up is not the way, because if you like your job, wherever you are and whenever it is, you will succeed. If a person wants to be included in this sector but doesn't know in coding, what is the starting point for that person? Actually, to simply put, that person can start with the customer relations, and customer relations is not the department to be underestimated. Once you start there, you develop yourself, you improve your skills there. And I also started in customer relations. I was even forum moderator when I first started my job. And you get familiar with the people, with the staff in the other departments, and you just exchange information. And during that time, you identify which department you want to work at. And you start with HTML, SSI, ASP, or PHP, depending on your area of interest. And in time, depending on the department that you want to work, you can start from one point. And being involved in the gaming sector is both easy and difficult. Being there is not that easy. Minimum 1 year's experience is required at everywhere, and you may gain that experience as an intern, for example. But the most important thing here is to be a gamer. If you do not want playing the games, you cannot work at a game development company. You really need to play the games. And it is not a job to be completed and just earning money. This is a love, just like teachers loving their students. I like my games, they're like my kids. And at every company, there are really good colleagues, and the company provides you a wide range of teammates and wide range of knowledge. And this depends on you, actually. It's up to you what to learn, to what extent to learn. But customer relations or social media management may be a starting point. If you want to be in a game company and if you want to be a tester, you need to know the game. When we look at the general path, actually, the young people are really The young people are really engaged in this sector. I even learned Unity at this age. Actually, it's up to you, as you said. If you want, you can do it. You can do anything as long as you desire. About Unity, I also underwent a training. I will not be a professional at the beginning, but it requires passion also. But you need to know to some extent. I know some of the software, but I do not know the mobile part. But I need to improve myself in that as well. You need to keep up with the sector. You need to keep up with the agenda. What about IGG? How did you start to work there? Before that, I used to work at Midpoint. Midpoint had to close the Turkey office, and there was a job proposal of IGG, and I just applied. And within 1 week, I did all the interviews. And when I talked to the HR, I was always honest. You have to be honest. You need to say that I can do this if you can do it, and I can't do this if you can't do. After starting the work in IGG, I was thinking that I was in Ankara. My Istanbul adventure was over, I thought. And I love Ankara, by the way. And I am working with really good managers. I am very happy here. And managers are also very important in a company. I got some interviews, sometimes 2 interviews in a day, and this process was really fast, and which gave me some positive impressions, and they informed me about anything. When I first entered the company, there were just 2 studios, one in Turkey and one in overseas. I was responsible for the Turkish offices. I was responsible for the social media, for the translations of the games. And then the Arabic studio was also affiliated to us, and we started the work with the whole office. And my 2nd year will be completed in December. And the game tests, game translations were all under my responsibility. I like to work as a team. We are like a family. You spend 8 hours a day together. And that was the way I started to work in IGG. There was a friend of mine who also applied for the same position, but I was the one who got the job. And the job was also broadcasted in LinkedIn as well, but I didn't see it at the first time. When there is a hiring ad, for example, or when you are to recruit someone, do you pay attention for recruiting females, or do you have such considerations? Yes, we are also recruiting staff. In the first place, our preferences are women. Because the reason for this is that we are going to launch a game oriented for women. Therefore, we are going to recruit females. I'm not saying that the males will not understand the game. Please do not misunderstand me, but the designs, the game will be oriented only for females. When at the game, when the business is in the foreground, the perspective of women are taken into consideration. For women-oriented women, there are generally birds, flowers, princess-like characters, but these always attract the attention of women, because apart from the game sector, cosmetic sector can also be integrated in this games, and males are bored with that actually. Therefore, we want to work with females. Which position? There are two positions now: graphic designer and CS customer support. Our HR is continuing with their interviews, but due to the pandemic, actually people are more keen on working from their home offices as freelancers, but we will continue to work in the offices. Sometimes there are some problems about that. People do not want an office atmosphere, but we need to turn to the offices. Of course, houses are more comfortable, but for women, working at home is not that easy, because there are also houseworks as well to do. Therefore, going to an office is more fun. Yes, it's more comfortable for us. For example, there are some discussions or arguments about it. I really miss my office. I do not want to be within an indoor place. I want people, I want social works. For actually, yesterday we were talking with colleagues that we thought that we only met 2 years ago. At home, we just work, we watch TV, and we sleep. So the companies are working in a hybrid manner. It may be the future of the sector, but I really miss my office. What are your opinions about the hybrid working? It's possible, but as I have already said, we need to go to the office 5 days a week. Our sector is actually flexible. Hybrid working is possible. It may even increase the efficiency of works, but we do not say that hybrid working is not possible. It is possible. We do not have to be there 24 hours a day or 5 days a week. We can also work from home. And people need some breaks in that sense. I hope that we can do hybrid working, but one day off is also required for a person. So every staff, every employee can select one day off during a weekday, so that it will increase the efficiency. This is from my own personal experience. Such things will be adopted soon in our sector, in my opinion. In the end, in real terms, we do need such breaks in the office environment in order to feel that synergy, and also in order to use our time efficiently. There will be times when we work at home, the sector will adopt it. We will all adapt to the new conditions, just in every sector. Thank you very much for sparing your time. Is there any questions? Let me check it. There's no question until now. So thank you very much, Deniz. See you at another Indieway event. Hope to see you again. We are always trying to learn from people who work in the other branches of the sector so that young people will see the options, will see the opportunities. Okay. See you. Goodbye.